Galatians. What is basically Galatians? It's a book about circumcision, basically. That's the main theme. A lot of people would like to use this somehow to attack Paul. No. And say that he's leading people astray because in the first few chapters he talks about being against this other gospel. And they assume it's the gospel they believed in, the true one the disciples taught. No. No, it's not. Like, if there was a false gospel going around, one completely works-based, one that said Jesus didn't come in the flesh. John talks about this later on. Why do you assume that it's talking about something different all of a sudden for no good reason? Yeah. Talks about, and we get to Paul was called by God, and then like he did not go to Jerusalem to see those who were immediately into Arabia. Now people think this contradicts Acts, the story in Acts. It doesn't. Your fundamental thinking of how things work do not mean anything. You just assume. Actually, that is, yeah. After taking some food, he regained his strength. In the very next part of the verse 19, Saul spent several days with the disciples in Damascus. At once he began to preach in the synagogues that Jesus is the Son of God. So what did Paul do in Galatians? Immediately leave to Arabia and then return to Damascus. Arabia isn't what we think of Arabia today. It was a much bigger area. It included the Sinai, by the way. So, the Sinai Peninsula, so into the desert. Alone, contact with God, and then went back to Damascus. It didn't say how long he stayed in Arabia. Yes. Then he went to Jerusalem. And when it says up to Jerusalem, it has nothing to do with elevation. All it has to do with holiness. And went to Peter and James. So then he was accepted by the apostles. Because what he was speaking was truth. And here where we get the theme of Galatians against circumcision. Yet not even Titus, who was with me, was compelled to be circumcised, even though he was Greek. So 10 talks about circumcision. Yes, that's what it's talking about in the gospel, saying you have to be circumcised to be saved. It was an ironic thing. This movement has come up and sprung up in America, the United States. You know what country has the most circumcisions? other than Israel? The United States. Yeah, not many other countries do it. It's Israel and the United States. Those are like the only two. So it's so ironic. These people are saying, you need to be circumcised. You, like, Paul is being against the law of circumcision and all this, and this is movement to be circumcised. You're already circumcised. If you were a boy born in the United States, you were most likely already circumcised. You were. Yeah. That's simple. You were circumcised. And yes, this is also where we get Paulatinos. Proof that there was infighting between Paul and Peter because the Bible tells me so. Yeah, he loves his little jingle, but he ironically will just take this and assume all sorts of stuff about this fight, even though it just tells you exactly what it was. Peter would eat with Jews, and then or eat with Gentiles, and then when the Jews showed up, leave the Gentiles. Paul's like, what are you doing, you hypocrite? Like, yes. Before a certain man came from James, he used to eat with the Gentiles, but when they arrived, he began to draw back and separate himself from the Gentiles because he was afraid of those who belonged to the circumcision group. Yeah, Peter was like, yeah, he had this thing with Cornelia. Yeah, he's like, yes, they can be saved, but I can't be seen with them. Otherwise, my fellow. And Paul's like, dude, no, bad. Yes, about law again. Oh, consider Abraham. He believed, and it was credited to him as righteousness. Does this go against what James says? No. Anyway, understand then that those who believe are children of Abraham. Okay, that's simple. All who rely on observing the law are under a curse, for it is written, curses everyone who does not continue to do everything written in the book of the law. Everything. All these people want to so desperately return to the feast and stuff and say you have to do, like, they want to return to the ceremonial law and say you have to do it in order to be saved. Okay, do you sacrifice a lamb during Passover? No, you don't. You're breaking the law. You're a lawbreaker. You're a sinner. You have failed. Oh, but the temple, was the temple around when the first Passover happened? No. Was it around in the desert? No. The temple doesn't matter. Oh, but the temple's gone, therefore you don't have to sacrifice to God. Because, yeah. If you want to do it, fine. Do it. On promise. This is where he talks about Hagar and Sarah. Remember this one person saying that those under the law are like Sarah, or like Hagar. I mean, they are descended from Hagar. No, it's just metaphorically. It's so weird that people say it's the Catholic Church that wants to do this. Ah, yes, the lawless Catholic Church that says you do whatever you want. No, you mean the church with like the most sacraments, the most like rigorous interpretations of the New Testament. The ones like priests cannot marry. The ones who get repeatedly criticized for being like the Pharisees. Them. They're the ones who are like, oh yeah, you don't have to follow the law anymore. Do you people not realize it? How silly that seems? Oh man, the Catholic Church's criticisms, the things people criticize the Catholic Church for, disprove you. Yes. That have all sorts of ritual and sacredness. Yeah. Oh yes, it does talk about going out. You are observing special days, months, seasons, and years. Is that talking about Christmas? No, it's not. It's not talking about Christmas. But Christmas isn't in the Torah. Neither is Purim. It isn't. It's in the book of Esther, not the first 5 books. But do the Jews celebrate? Does it say the Jews celebrated in Esther? Did it say anything wrong? Was there wrong about observing it? No. What's wrong with observing a day celebrating the fact that God did something amazing? What this is talking about is observing special days, months, and seasons and years dedicated to foreign gods. There's nothing that says that Christmas or Easter are dedicated to foreign gods. It's all complete BS. Nonsense. That ironically was made by a Protestant who didn't believe in sola scriptura, apparently, and decided the made-up traditions of Babylon, because there's no evidence that Babylon even believed this, were equal to what the Bible says, because his slop, which is ironic, because his last name being partly slop, because that's what his work is, slop. Anyway, said that Christmas was the day that Nimrod, a Babylonian god, gave birth, had his son Tammuz. Where in the Bible does it say Nimrod was a god? Where? It doesn't. Nimrod is mentioned in Genesis as the founder of a few cities and a mighty hunter. That's it. Nothing about being a god. In genealogies, he's mentioned, but still, nothing about being a god. Because he wasn't a god. So what does Hislop do in his book, The Two Babylons? Somehow, says Nimrod was a Babylonian god. His proof? Trust me, bro. Because Christmas can't be the celebration of what people say it is. It can't be the celebration of that the God of the universe incarnated. It can't be this idea that the God of the universe came down as a human baby. And Easter can't be the celebration that he rose from the dead and that we can all be saved. No. It must be this recontextualized paganism, because no one in the New Testament would have thought to celebrate, the 2 days Satan would hate the most. The day that God humbled himself to become one of us and began the process of Satan's loss. The proof that God really, really does love us and will do anything to save us. And the fact that day 2, he rose from the dead, crushing Satan's head and forever defeating him. Yeah, what 2 days do you think Satan wants to lie about the most? What days do you think he wants Christians to just not celebrate? To just turn into into pagan festivals or into secular holidays that mean absolutely nothing. What 2 events do you think Satan wants us to forget about? The Exodus? Passover? Easter is Passover. It's the ultimate Passover. That's the point. That is the point. Do you really, really think for a second that God would care that you're celebrating the fact that he incarnated and that he rose from the dead? No, he doesn't. Those are miraculous things. Why wouldn't you celebrate them? Oh, but the dates are... No, they're not. There's no proof. Oh, but Jeremiah is about the chapter of Jeremiah. Yeah, if you have a pastor saying that's about Jeremiah, that section of Jeremiah is about Christmas trees, he should be fired. Or she. You might have... Who knows? At that point, because clearly they can't read. Can they read the Bible? No. Could they read an elementary school book? No. They can't read because it's about carving a tree and making an idol. It doesn't have to say for a tree that a tree can't see. No, really, trees can't see. They can't. Wow, what a concept, Jeremiah. Trees can't walk. Wow. But it said silver and gold, and people put... Yeah, because that's what you covered an idol in. You took silver, melted it down, so you could plate, and then you hammer it over the idol. Duh! No one was putting ornaments in trees and calling it a god. Even the pagans back then would be like, what the frick is wrong with you? Yeah, it's in the freedom in Christ, freedom to obey to do whatever you want. No. I will say you're led by the Spirit. And this is where it goes and shows that no, this doesn't lead to a life of sin. Actually, what these people want leads to a life of sin, because as soon as you break the law, they're like, oh, yeah, now you're a sinner. You're not sinless perfectionism. You have failed. You just claim Jesus, but now you can't do it again. You failed. Goodbye. You're done forever. Okay, I'll keep on sinning. They don't take sin seriously. They don't. They just don't. And then they just cause more sin. So does Paul in this was saying you can do whatever you want? No, the acts of the sinful nature are obvious. Sexual immorality, impurity, debauchery, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, discord. That probably should be translated into another word, because yeah, discord does not need that anymore. Jealousy, fits of rage, selfish ambition, desiccations, factions. Oh no, the church doesn't do that. I'm Methodist, I'm Lutheran, I'm Catholic, I'm Orthodox, I'm blah 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 blah. Oh, but we're all the one true church. Yeah, you are. Just act like it. Is it really that hard? That would be mean we give up our traditions. Not necessarily. But then the church, but just go to whatever church you prefer. That's already what people do. But, 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 let's see, envy, drunkenness, orgies, and the like. Yeah. So does it say do whatever you want? No. Paul clearly labels things that you shouldn't be doing. Yeah, these people just they don't understand. Are so important. We need to teach people these things. We can't just put it into like a secondary school type thing. Why not? So you need them to be because we just can't. So you need these things to be saved. Well, no. Oh, okay. Then why are you holding to them so dearly if you don't need them to be saved? Well, because it's do you believe you're the one true church? Like, and all the other denominations are false? No. And then all the denominational differences, by that definition, don't matter. They don't. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, greatness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control, and self-control. Against such things there is no law. Think about it. You fulfill the law. You love Christ. What is loving Christ? Well, worshiping Him and doing what He said. What does He say to do? Take care of the poor. Stop sinning. Help one another. Yes. Love. Yes. Also, here, brothers, if someone is caught in sin, you who are in this are spiritual should what? Restore him gently. But watch yourself, or you also may be tempted. Yeah, be careful. But yes, restore him gently. What does it mean to restore? Back to the faith, back to Christ. Doesn't mean give him all the pastoral positions he had before. No. Means call them out, hold them accountable for what they do. And then it ends circumcision again, because Galatians is basically mainly overall theme is circumcision. Yes. That's all. Ephesians is next.